YouTube Live, my third live streaming today. I'm about to head out to attend the Amazon Studios holiday party. Um, I guess, being part of a film critic society, I've been invited to all these holiday parties. I went to Fox Searchlight holiday party. I went to, what's the other one? And so this evening is Amazon Studios. So before I head out, before I drive clear to Los Angeles, I want to give you my review of Elseworlds Part 3. Why? Rama, it's already late. It's already 3 days since Elseworlds Part 3 aired on this past Tuesday. Well, because this past Tuesday, I was busy screening the movie Escape Room. So I wasn't able, when I got home, I was too tired to watch Elseworlds. And then the next day got too busy because I was interviewing the actors of Escape Room. So I finally got to watch it like this past 24 hours. And I want to make a review. Let me decline. Okay, they can call back. So I want to make sure I give you my review before we head out to the next uh, crossover for next year, which is Crisis on Infinite Earths. So, as always, with all my recap and review of TV episodes, this too will contain spoilers. So, spoiler alert. In the part one, part two, it was the Flash episode, an Arrow episode, and then we saw Kate Kane, aka Batwoman. Of course, with all the DC Easter eggs. Bane's mask. Um, what else? Crane's gas. Norma Fries was there. Oswald Cobblepot's name was on the door. It was fantastic, right? We had fun with that. So now it's Supergirl episode part 3 of Elseworlds, the conclusion. John Deegan, played by one of my favorite character actors, Jeremy Davies. Once again, he gets the Book of Destiny, and once again, he rewrites reality. And even this episode, Elseworlds Part 3, starts out with him talking or introducing himself. Kind of like, how with all the Arrowverse shows, Flash or Arrow or Supergirl, they all start out in the intro. My name is Barry Allen, and I'm the fastest man alive. Or my name is Oliver Queen, and for the past 5 years, I was stuck in an island. Or my name is Carrie Danvers, and I came from Krypton. So in Elseworlds, it's John Deegan that got to speak, and it ends with him being the evil Superman. Um, and he confronts Barry and Ollie, who by now, in this new reality, they are criminals. Um, okay, let me just say that Elseworlds Part 3 has got to be the weakest of this whole annual crossover. I really enjoyed Part 1, and Part 2 was fun, but Batwoman was terrible. And then Part 3, mm, it, Part 3 embodies everything that's problematic about Supergirl series. If you have beef about Supergirl like I do, even though I watch it every week still, I don't know why. Well, those problematic aspects are shown here in this show, in this part 3. It basically, what I'm trying to say is that this part 3 emphasizes why Supergirl may not be the best of all the Arrowverse shows. It emphasizes that. It compounds it. It points it out even more. So let's break it down. I have some notes here. I want to go through them with you. Okay, as I mentioned before in the review episodes of Elseworlds, that the one thing that carries over from each show, because they put a pause on the overarching arc. They put a pause on the Flash about Nora and Cicada. On Arrow, they put a pause on Diaz, and even though Diaz showed up for like a couple seconds, they put a pause on Diaz and the whole arc about, oh my God, Diaz apparently is not dead. He's not this, Ali did not kill Diaz in that prison, or maybe it's another Diaz. So they put a pause on that. But the one thing that carries over is the relationship. And with the Flash, it's Iris West. You're my lightning rod. On Arrow, it's Felicity and Ollie having romance problem, right? The relationship problem. Um, in Supergirl, the relationship that carries over is, of course, it's not about love. It's always the stronger aspect of relationship that Supergirl always offers, or often offers, is the relationship between Kara Danvers and Alex Danvers, the sisterhood. It's the sisterhood of the traveling pants. Uh, and that's good. That's a great choice because that is a big chunk of what we are familiar with about Supergirl show. Um, but the whole thing with just from the way that Alex shows up, because by now in this reality, Kara Danvers or Supergirl is held up in the Star Lab in that prison thing, and then if all of a sudden Alex just shows up, like an employee walking by, going to from one hall to the next, and he just happens to like stumble upon Supergirl, and the way Kara convinces Alex, we are sisters in the true reality, not this reality. That whole thing, the whole speech, the whole spiel. I don't know. I'm just not buying it, man. I'm just not. It's not as strong as some of the sisterhood moments in the past on Supergirl show. In this Elseworlds, it seems like, I don't know. There's something missing there. It doesn't have a real kick to it, or maybe the reason or the cause of it is that we've gone through rounds like this before. We've gone through rounds of Alex and Kara, so many Alex and Kara moments in Supergirl that I guess we kind of got tired of it. Maybe that's the reason. It's just not the strongest part of the Elseworlds Part Three, in my opinion. But I totally get why they have to include that because, as I said, um, that is one of the familiar characteristics or traits from the Supergirl show. So it carries over to this one. Now, so what happens in this new reality? We see Cisco as a mob boss. That is fantastic. That's probably the highlight of this episode, especially with the part where Cisco says, "Yeah, but I like watching my guys punching people in the face." As he like, oh, I like that part. I want to see you get punched in the face. Something along those lines, and it's just so funny, man. And Jimmy Olsen is Cisco's bodyguard, and then all of a sudden Gary shows up. Gary from Legends of Tomorrow. Even though Legends of Tomorrow, they sit out this year's annual crossover, and if you saw Legends of Tomorrow episode this past Monday, it's funny because it was also mentioned or talked about just like for a couple of seconds when Nate's like, "Oh, it must be the annual crossover. It must be the annual crossover. We'll pass." Oh, I love Legends of Tomorrow. I hope next year they can somehow play a part on Crisis on Infinite Earths. So that again, back to Cisco. That has got to be my favorite part of Elseworlds Part Three. Cisco goes to Earth 38 um, to help Barry and Ollie meet, the actual Superman and Lois Lane in that Fortress of Solitude. And okay, so another weak moment in the Part Three is when the evil Superman um, duking it out, or yes, starts out. Let's start with they meet at Star Labs, right? They meet at Star Labs. That's when they first encounter each other, and bam, both Supermans fight. They fly, punch each other. Punch each other's daylights out in the sky, what have you. But there's a moment, I don't know if you notice, when um, Ollie starts fighting Diggle, and they start going into the elevator to fight. and then you see you see Killer Frost starts going into the elevator as well. It's like she's just like walking with like with her hands up, like so she's about to like uh, unleash her powers. And that is so funny. That is so cheesy. I was like, who choreographed this shit? Like, okay, I get the idea that they wanna separate some of these characters. You have two Supermans fighting over there, and let's have Ollie, Diggle, and Killer Frost inside the elevator, and then of course Flash and Alex and Kara doing their thing. So that I get that's the idea, but the execution of it, the way it plays out is just so, especially with Killer Frost going, just walking gently into the elevator because like oh, I guess I'm supposed to go here now. It's just so dumb, so dumb. Now the fight between the two Supermans, parts of it were epic, parts of it were, I guess you could say, maybe they saw Zack Snyder's Man of Steel movie, and the scene of Superman versus Zod, and they're like, oh, let's try to recreate that, but without destroying the buildings. Let's recreate that without killing civilians. So that's the impression I get from that whole scene, Superman versus Superman, and even that sequence. We are in 2018, so there's the technology in filmmaking, or TV making, if you will, um, has improved over the years, right? Over the years. So if you have episodes or movies about twins, or like where the actor has to play dual roles, in today's technology, there's some visual effects that can help that. Um, in the case of Elseworlds Part 3, obviously they just want to incorporate the old camera trick angle. It's like if you see the good Superman, then the evil Superman, you can only see the back of his head. You know what I'm saying? You don't see the both faces at the same time. But I think there is a missed opportunity in that fight scene, because once they enter the building, uh, right before the evil Superman throws the good Superman out of the building again. That's the building where that one single worker in the entire building, apparently she's the only one working there. Well, there's a moment when the evil Superman talks, or John Deegan talks to the good Superman. I forgot what the line is, and that could have been a dual shot, like from the side, like showing both faces at the same time, looking at each other. With good Superman looking exhausted, the evil Superman is like, oh, angry. But no, they still go with the back of the head thing again. I was just like, come on, at least you have all that ad money, CW. You have all that ad money, CW producers. Come on, you could at least spend some on making that one shot happen. I think that's a missed opportunity on their part, and yeah, it just looks like it could go the distance, but it didn't want to, and so yeah, it's a missed opportunity. It would have been more exciting to see it that way instead of just like old school style. Um, okay, so this is what also bugs me. When Lois Lane comes in to help the good Superman, all right, so Lois Lane brings this hammer, bam, and then the evil Superman, or John Deegan, falls to his back, falls flat, and the good Superman, right, the true Superman, he could have flown like or run really fast, because Superman also has speed, to pick up the book, and that would have been the end of it. That would have been the end of it. But no, for whatever reason, John Deegan gets up again and he takes the book again. I was like, oh, then why? What's with all that fuss about the hammer bringing him down if you're not gonna take the book away from him? I'm just like, oh, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Uh, the choreography is just so dumb in this one, and then it's like they didn't like the writers did not think it through, or the director did not think it through. Um, And so a lot of the fan speculation out there on the web, they theorize, or the rumor has it out there, is that um, Ali made a bargain with the Monitor. Ali made a bargain with the Monitor. So the theory out there is assuming that maybe Ali is sacrificing himself so that Barry and Kara wouldn't have to die, eviscerated in their attempt to rotate the planet Earth, which, by the way, is reminiscent of my favorite Superman movie of all time, the first one, of course, with Christopher Reeve rotating the Earth to turn back time to save Lois. Love that, love that. Now we don't know for sure. We don't know if because Ali tells you right now. So freaking callers and alarms. So when Ollie is at the bar with Barry and Ollie says, "Hey, we gotta appreciate the ones we love, however long we'll have them, or however long this would last." A lot of people out there assume or speculate that that means he's dying somehow. Ollie's dying. He made a bargain or sacrifice or a martyrdom act for to the Monitor in return for Barry and Kara surviving. We don't know yet. We don't know that. So and the episode ends with a lot of Superman and Lois Lane. Superman and Lois Lane telling Kara that they're having a baby and that they're taking a sabbatical, taking a long hiatus. Usually people would go to Hawaii, but for some reason they want to have their baby in a freezing ass cold Fortress of Solitude. Maybe Fortress of Solitude has heater. I don't know. But that whole thing, is so cheesy funny. And then Clark or Superman proposes to Lois Lane, and as a fan of Superman, and I've watched so many versions of Superman on TV and on the big screen, it takes me back to Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman, the series in the '90s, starring Dean Cain as Superman. And I remember the last couple of seasons of that show. I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, my memory is kind of shoddy these days, but Superman and Lois Lane had a baby. They actually, managed to grow a family together, which is nice because Lois and Clark: The Adventures of Superman it was essentially a romantic superhero movie. It has more heavy emphasis on the romantic part. So that whole thing with the proposal and the baby thing, it just brings me back to that nostalgia of watching Lois and Clark, and that's awesome. But I figured out now why I'm not a big fan of Tyler Hoechlin as Superman. Now, maybe many of you think that Tyler Hoechlin is a fantastic Superman, that he does a good job taking on the mantle or taking on the torch from Tom Welling or from Henry Cavill, what have you, right? It's like, oh, Tyler's a good continuation of this legacy of Superman, and that's fine. I think Tyler is serviceable. Tyler does the job, but I'm not a big fan because, and you can probably call me a bad guy for saying this, but Tyler is just not tall enough. To me, Superman is a towering presence. He towers over you. Tom Welling is tall and sturdy like a freaking oak tree. Same with Christopher Reeve and Dean Cain and Henry Cavill. They're like, you look up to Superman. Tyler is just regular, man, regular height. I think if any actor right now that I would probably use as an example for the man, um, Army Hammer. Army Hammer has a towering presence himself. Obviously, he's a movie star. He won't do any TV. But yeah, that's probably. But I'm nitpicking here. That's why I don't like this Tyler Hoechlin's version of Superman. Um, it's gonna take a while for me for him to grow on me. Lois Lane, as a big fan of Lois Lane, I don't know if I would put Elizabeth Tulloch now on the ranks of my favorite Lois Lanes of all time just yet. I'm not hating on her, but I'm not ready to put her on the same level as Erica Durance and Terry Hatcher and Margot Kidder. But she's feisty enough. I give her that, and she's bossy enough. I give her that, and that's Lois Lane. Lois Lane doesn't take crap from nobody, and she's strong enough to be she's strong enough for her man, or to defend her man. So she's not afraid to get her hand dirty. So that's cool. I think Elizabeth Tulloch does a decent job as Lois Lane. So from a perspective of a Superman fan, I give you that. Overall, Elseworlds Part 3 is the weakest of them all. Um, I can't wait for Crisis on Infinite Earths. As you know, Crisis on Infinite Earths is this comic book series by Marv Wolfman, and it features Anti-Monitor. And at the end of Elseworlds Part 3, I think the guy in the jail cell is Anti-Monitor, if I'm not mistaken. And so this, if they're gonna go faithful to the comic book series or the comic book Crisis on Infinite Earths, then it's gonna be one hell of a collision. It's gonna be one hell of a crossover. Um, Characters will die. They already teased. They already teased Superman. I'm sorry. They already teased Supergirl and Flash dying in this Elseworlds Part 3, and in Crisis on Infinite Earths, Barry and Kara actually die. So um, we already have the tease here. I don't know how. I guess there's gonna be round 2 of them dying. We'll see, unless the writer's gonna put their spin on it and include Legends of Tomorrow and Black Lightning, hopefully, and then we're gonna get a different story altogether compared to the comic books. A collision or a combination of all these forces against or going up against the Monitor, uh, who is hell bent on destroying all worlds. I think in the comic books, correct me if I'm wrong, it ends with um, a few characters, including Lex, beating Anti-Monitor, and it ends with instead of having multiverse or multi-Earths, there's only one single Earth. Um, I might be wrong. My memory's a little shoddy. So I don't know if they're gonna go with that. Remember, some of the characters in the Crisis on Infinite Earths comic books, they're not part of, or they don't have their own CW show yet. So and you only have 1 year. You can't announce the other characters show. So I think they're gonna have a new spin to it. Will it deviate too much from the original material? We'll find out. We'll find out. So I'm surprised that they announced it a year ahead. Usually we won't. Usually we don't find out on the title or what the annual crossover is about probably until like 6 months before, or a few weeks leading up to the premiere of the crossover. So this is new that they actually announced it. They want you to get stoked a full year before it even premieres. So hopefully it pays off. We'll see. That's it. Those are my long rantings. That's my long review of Elseworlds Part 3, which I just gotta have. I gotta let that out. I gotta get that out before I go to Amazon Studios holiday party. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about all these Elseworlds overall? And share your thoughts in the comment section below, and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you can help support this channel, please do so. I need your support at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.